Welcome to another coaching demonstration from the team at MRA. The tool we're showcasing today is the TGROW model.
Hi Sophie, how are you?
I'm really well, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Yes, yeah. How are you looking forward to today's coaching session?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. It's a lovely end to my working week. I've got a few days off coming up. So yeah, really lovely way to end it.
Great, sounds really positive. So I know we've obviously worked together before, and we've contracted quite extensively before, but just a bit of a reminder on some of the key points. Everything that we discuss is completely confidential, so I won't be sharing anything with anybody else. And also, with coaching that I'm not here to give you advice. I'm here to ask questions and to listen, and for you to find solutions and actions that are relevant to you and that will suit you. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, perfect.
Great. And what do you need from me as your coach today?
I guess just to keep me focused on my topic. It's something that I've always sort of known about, so it's bubbling away in my mind. I'm better at it now than I ever have been, but just keep me focused on it because it's important.
Okay, so keeping you focused because it's something that's really important to you. You're aware of it, it's bubbling there, but a bit of focus on that.
Yes, please.
Okay, lovely. Okay, so we've got about 15 minutes to work through. What would you like to talk about today?
So I want to talk about my tendency to become completely absorbed in work. So particularly when I'm busy, I love what I do, and I just find that actually every waking moment I'm reading, I'm sort of researching various different bits and bobs, all to do with the world of coaching, and that's great for my own development. But what I've found over the years is actually when I do hit a really busy period, I tend to become really absorbed, and I've got quite a lot going on both professionally and personally over the coming months, and so I want to really retain the balance that I currently have in both of those areas.
Okay, brilliant. So some great sort of initial self-awareness as to how you are, and that you might have a tendency to get absorbed into work to the detriment of other things. And brilliant, because you're consciously going into that busy period and wanting to ensure that you maintain that balance as you go through that time.
Yes, spot on.
So what will you have at the end of today's session that you don't have now?
So I think what I'd like to have is just to have really raised my levels of self-awareness well ahead of time, so that as I move into this busy period, they're sort of there front and centre, and I don't have that tendency to cancel things with friends on a weekend because I could be doing a bit more work, or working late into the night because I don't have to go to bed before midnight, right? That's lots of time to be doing work. So just being really mindful and conscious that actually I can get myself into that space quite easily if I'm not conscious. So having that sort of real raised awareness around it.
Okay, so at the end of today's session, having that raised awareness, you can be really mindful over the next few weeks and maintain that balance over the next few weeks of being really busy.
Yeah, that would be brilliant.
Okay, and when you think about the that balance and maintaining that balance, what does a good outcome look like for that? What will you be doing? What will you be thinking and feeling?
So historically, as I entered into a busy work period, I would cancel things out of my diary that were not work related. So seeing friends, seeing family, perhaps doing stuff with the kids or my husband. And I've got quite a lot of stuff in my diary. As you can imagine, a lot of the pandemic stuff's been lifted. So there's lots of friends I haven't seen for a long time. Family, broader family that I haven't really connected with. So my diary on a weekend is quite full over the coming months. So it's important to me that I meet those commitments in the same way that I would meet my work commitments. Yeah, so they're really important to me, and I want to make sure I don't move anything.
All right, so a good outcome overall is for you to commit to what you've got personally as well as professionally, and not start to cancel some of the personal commitments to the detriment of what the other things that are going on.
Yeah, that would be brilliant.
Okay, brilliant. So tell me what's going on right now. What's the current reality for you?
So things are going really well. I'm at a place both professionally and personally where there's a lot of balance in my life. I love what I do. Family are all really well, so I'm in a really, really good place. And I think that is almost what's driving this even harder for me. I don't want to lose that, because I know the value I get from that, how it makes me feel when, I've got that really lovely balance between the two. I feel really lucky and really grateful for where I am right now.
So you're in a really good place at the moment, and it sounds like from the way you've described it that when you say lucky and grateful, it's really important that you hold on to the balance that you've got. It sounds like it's a really, really important for you, and you're enjoying yourself as well. I can see that in your body language. You seem really, really happy and content.
Yeah, absolutely, I am.
Yeah, brilliant. So you've talked about wanting to maintain that balance as you go into this busier period. What have you thought about in terms of, or what have you tried so far, I suppose, to try and maintain that balance?
So again, historic me would have said no to a lot of the things that I've been asked for, but I have purposefully said yes to things, even though when I'm looking at my diary either side of it, I'm thinking, oh, gosh, that's a really busy week, or there's a lot to be done leading up to that. And I know normally I would have said, no, let's just leave that weekend free so that I've got that capacity, that bandwidth there to do some of this stuff. And actually, I've been quite purposeful in putting it in the diary and agreeing to it. The bit for me now is don't retract it. Don't say, oh, I've reflected on this now and it's right in the middle of a busy thing and probably, let's move it. I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. But I know I have a tendency to do that, but I really don't want to.
So when you've been in this situation before, Sophie, and you've managed to maintain the balance, what have you done that's allowed you to be successful doing that?
I guess, and I think back, something in that commitment word for me around, that 100% commitment to work and clients and everything that's involved in that. And actually, do I have 100% commitment to some of these other things in my life? And is that what's getting in the way, perhaps? And it shouldn't, because I am committed to those other areas of my life, very much so. And so I guess when I've done it before and I've done the thing at the weekend that I wanted to do and I've managed to keep that balance, I guess there's something in that around just reminding myself it's important. I know how I'll feel when I've seen that person, or I've done that thing, or I've spent that time doing whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm much better as an individual, so therefore I'm much better as a coach, in the world of work. And so I know the benefit of me having that balance is really important. So there's something in that for me around when I have done it and done it well before, it's because I've reminded myself it's important to me and I'm better for doing it.
So there's something about commitment,
mm-hmm.
something about the importance, it's important, and then there's something around that you're better as a result. So fulfilling your professional commitments means you also show up better professionally.
Just as you sort of play that back to me, I'm sort of sitting here going, well, obviously, You know, why don't I just remind myself of that? Because that actually really taps into that really intrinsic stuff of importance to me, which is I want to be the best I can be as a coach, and, you know, deliver the best for my clients. And actually knowing that about myself, knowing that seeing my friends, seeing my family, you know, being there for the kids and all that sort of stuff is really important and helps me be better. How can I possibly let anything get in the way of those things, right? One feeds the other in a way that I probably, well, I hadn't connected before, but you say that back to me and it's like, well, yeah, those things are really important to help me be the best I can be.
When you said it, did you notice that you did this when you were talking about being
I guess,
committed?
no, I didn't. I didn't, but I guess it's because it's so important.
What's the emotion attached with that, Sophie?
Oh gosh, it feels like it makes complete sense in my mind now. I'm visualizing like this virtual circle of being brilliant here and being brilliant here, and those two things are so interconnected for me. I feel quite excited actually that connection has been made, if that makes any sense, because I know I can have it's in my control. Both of those things are completely within my control. And actually the impact of doing both of those things means I can really be the best version of myself in all of those areas of my life, which is really important to me. Yeah, it's a real moment. Thank you.
Brilliant. So there's a sort of real excited emotion attached to making the connection between those two areas.
Yeah, because for me there's a real clarity around it. You know, when I think about, oh, well, I should put stuff in my diary, I should, you know, it's there and I'm looking at it, and yet still there was that thing around, yeah, but you know, you can still move it, it's fine, they won't mind, we can rearrange. But now when I look at my diary, which I am doing, my desk diary, I'm sort of thinking, but if I do that on the 16th, I know on the 18th I'll be a much better version of me than if I hadn't done it, because I'll feel guilty that I've moved it and let people down and all of the stuff that's associated with moving things. And actually, if I do that thing, I know I'll show up better on the 18th, on the Monday, because I've done it. It's a real mindset thing when I talk about it in this way. I think I was just expecting to come away with just some more, we'll try this or try that or try the other. And actually it's that virtual circle, it's that link between the two. Because when I think about where I've really struggled when I've been consumed, so it can bring brilliant things when I'm consumed to the world of work, but it can also bring less desirable things, particularly in terms of my behaviours and how I feel about myself and all of that. And actually the thing that's missing is that connection to my friends, to my family, that would actually just help sort of really balance me and not be too consumed in one area. And yeah.
Great. So sounds as though there's some real insight you've surfaced about yourself, particularly that connection between personal and professional and how meaningful that is for you. You talked a little bit about mindset, so something around mindset. So what options do you have? What are you thinking that you could be doing or trying to support you with that mindset?
It's really about that whole awareness piece. to be the best version of me, I need both of those things. I need the balance, I need the professional, and I need the personal. So for me, when I think about mindset, it's like when I look at that calendar, it is of equal importance. Yeah. So I know that it's important I do that thing on the Saturday, just as important as it is that I do that thing on the Monday. And I guess from a selfish point of view, it's important to me that I do both of those things, as opposed to it's important to the other people that I show up really well, which of course it is. But I'm only going to show up really well in those two different on those 2 different days if I've done both of those things. So, you know, there's something in that for me around, you know, I've committed to that, and it's important. As I wouldn't have, I'm not one of those that just say yes to things, particularly in my free time. Yeah, because you don't have a lot of it. So I do say yes to the things that are important. So I just need to remember that it's really important.
So we're already, your mindset in committing to something personally is that it's important because you use your time wisely because it's precious.
Yeah.
So there's something around that commitment's already been made as far as you're concerned.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's the action then associated with the insight that you've surfaced?
So I journal quite a lot. Part of my coaching practice, it's useful for that, but also for myself. As an extroverted preference, I don't spend a lot of time in reflection, so it's now quite a learned behaviour with me, where I will step away and I write this stuff down. So I'm going to capture this. I'm going to capture it in my journal. I might even put it on a post-it, just sort of on my desk, just as that sort of reminder. But just as we've been talking and I've sort of been looking at my desk calendar, I feel quite anchored in that really sort of is making me, I'm just looking at these weekends and I'm like, I'm doing that and I'm doing that, and it's okay with what's going before that and what's coming after that. It's fine. It is fine, because it's going to make me better all round. So it really feels like there's something there already, but I will get it down in my journal because it's really important that I do.
So you're going to journal it, and it sounds like you've got almost a tangible physical anchor in front of you with your desk calendar. Obviously we're sitting here in a coaching session, I'm asking you the questions and you're surfacing some good insight and you're making a commitment in terms of what you're going to do. How are you really going to hold yourself to account on that balance and placing as much importance on the personal commitments as the professional commitments?
Oh, it's like a non-negotiable for me, because I know it makes me better. It's almost, I don't give myself the permission to move the things, obviously unless there's a major catastrophe, but you know, I think there's almost something in, because I'm choosing to do things that are important to me, that's it, no question, they're going to happen. That's what is going to happen on that weekend. And I don't have the permission to just move things around just in case I might need to do a bit more work or be close to my iMac in case something comes through, right?
And actually I see every day from you, Sophie, that professional commitment, the following through on those commitments. So I wonder if it's about you having exactly that mindset around your personal commitments, because you would never let anybody down professionally.
No, and I would never let anybody down personally. They would always have plenty of notice, but nonetheless, the outcome is still, I've moved stuff and effectively let them down. And again, when you sort of say that, I think, oh, it fills me with dread letting anybody down. So, yeah. Oh.
Okay. So journaling, you've got the anchor, and it sounds like a real commitment. You don't want to let people down. You really want to follow through on those personal commitments in the same way that you do with your professional ones. So when are you going to start putting this into place?
I'm going to do it this afternoon. So as I wrap up my work bits and pieces, because I'm off for a few days, I'm going to make this one of the last things I do, because it just feels, I feel really energized about it. I feel like I've had like a bit of a moment where I've gone, oh, so that's what it is. That's what's going on for me, rather than thinking I'm doing my best by being consumed and just focusing on one thing. Actually, to my detriment, it means I'm not always showing up as my best, because I'm not doing these other things that sort of really bring me joy and balance. So yeah.
Okay, so some real action this afternoon, and sounds like some real commitment and motivation to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic. So as we draw the session to a close, Sophie, what's been most useful about the last 20 minutes?
So it's done exactly as I wanted it to do, and more actually. So my whole sort of premise was I just want some time to bring this sort of front of mind. So I'm really conscious about it. So as I move into the next few months that are really busy, I keep that balance. And actually I've done that, but I've also connected some dots that I'd never connected before. I think I've got to the bottom of perhaps some of the way in which I thought about the weekend things getting in the way. Actually not. They are an enabler for me to be the best version I can be. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sophie. Great to work with you as ever, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Hilary. Brilliant.
Thank you.
That concludes the coaching demonstration. If you'd like to learn more about professional coaching, please visit www.matthewradley.co.uk.